were the Vedas prohibited to Shudras or to other Varnas? In this, we have to say that yes, they were prohibited. Not everyone was allowed to perform a yajna. And not everyone was allowed to, in later stages, some smritis also do record that not everyone was even allowed to listen to the incantations or the performance of these yajnas. But before that, we have to rethink a question. When we think about Vedas, there is a strain of presentism in all of us, and we tend to back project the conditions that are prevalent today on ancient societies. So we tend to think of the Vedas as books, four books. But actually, the Vedas were not four books. Because now they are, of course, recorded in on paper. Now they are printed and published and available for anyone to study. But the Vedas were not actually books. They were manuals for performing yajnas. They were a lot of other things, but they were virtually manuals for performing, they were formulas for performing yajnas. And in order to do that, you had to be trained in it for your entire life. So the Vedas were not books, they were lifestyles. And now we have to pay attention towards how is a lifestyle carried forward. Lifestyle is not something, is not a fashion, is not a hairstyle that you can take upon one day. And when you get bored of it after 2 weeks, let's say, or 1 week, and now in this age, even 2 or 3 days, and you abandon it and you adopt another fashion. Culture is not like fashion. Culture has to be born not just your entire lifetimes, but also through many generations. And so Vedas were a lifestyle and they were carried forward by extreme discipline and hard work. The life of the Brahmins, people see a lot of privileges that they say that the Brahmins had a lot of privileges, but they do not see. Let us for a moment assume that they indeed have those privileges, but they do not see what disadvantages did they have uh, in carrying this knowledge tradition, knowledge system forward. They could not avail, they could not engage in great trade. Yes, they could grow some vegetables and grow some food in their backyard in the land provided, gifted by the king or some or society, civil society. Yes, they could grow some food for themselves, but they could not trade. They had to beg for a living. Those who were employed in the pursuit of the great branches of knowledge, they had to beg, they had to actually get food from the society, live on the mercy of the society. Yes, our society respected them very much, but they did not have a choice in what they ate and what they wore. They just got by. It was a very hard lifestyle. The other Brahmins who actually employ themselves in the study of wholeheartedly in some certain branch of Indic knowledge system, they have to follow even more rigorous methods. So this is how a lifestyle is carried. So Vedas were not books; they were lifestyles, and not everyone was allowed to carry it. We should say that not everyone was capable or able to or even willing to carry that, and that's why a certain community was doing it. Now the question comes that it was hereditary, it was birth-based distinction. Yes, it was, because there was virtually, first of all, more than anything, there was virtually no other way to train anyone in anything. Vedic studies, most of all, they required decades and decades of learning, decades and decades of following that lifestyle. And that is why they had to be trained by the age of, let's say, their training started by the age of 4 or 5. And it went on until they were well into their adulthood. So it was hereditary, it was birth based, but there was no choice. It was possible to break these distinctions. We will discuss them later on. But this was for the majority of the population, it was very natural. Sanatan Dharma had the wisdom to accept what is natural, accept what is common for the majority of the population, and uh, they went along with that. They created systems which harness this natural tendencies of people the best.